Hello and welcome to the Uneducated PT podcast with me, your host, Carl O'Rourke. The goal of this podcast is to bring on interesting and knowledgeable people from all walks of life, learn a little something from each conversation, and for you, the listener, to learn something from each episode. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, press the box below, show some support, and I'll see you on the next episode. So you described yourself as an introvert when you were younger.
Yeah.
Which I obviously don't see because I see the polished version. Someone rocking up to do a podcast, not a bother them.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I would say I still am introverted, just obviously better at managing it now, but whenever I was younger, mate, I just fucking locked myself inside at all times. Communicating with people was not something that I came natural with.
Yeah.
I was very socially awkward, I would say, whenever I was younger, but whenever in my younger years, I never played sports, never went outside, didn't have many friends or anything when I was younger as well, and I just locked myself inside all the time. So we're playing fucking PlayStation, computer games, all that sort of stuff for 12, 13 hours a day. I'd be sitting up all night playing games and then sleeping all day, and it was just this vicious cycle.
What was your go-to games?
World of Warcraft, mate. I played it for fucking 10 years.
Could almost get paid for it.
It's mad how Counter-Strike was more like PC sort of game.
Counter-Strike, I used to play that as well.
Yeah, I loved it, mate. Counter-Strike 1.6 on the Source and stuff, was hooked on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just living in a virtual world pretty much my entire young adult life, and whenever I was a kid and stuff as well, and said didn't really have much communication skills or social skills or anything like that, and I couldn't even make eye contact with a shopkeeper if I went into a shop
Really?
to buy fucking food or anything. Yeah, I was just really self-conscious, I would say. And then went to college, and it sort of obviously pushed me. Even school and stuff would have been a wee bit awkward as well, but more so when I went to college because it was in a completely different environment with different people and stuff.
Yeah.
as
Did
well.
you have a circle of friends that you felt like you could be more confident or?
Whenever I was in high school and stuff, it would have been, yeah, because obviously everybody sort of has their own wee group.
Yeah.
But would probably say the lads that I was hanging about were probably just as socially awkward as I was. Do you know what I mean?
It's the in-betweeners.
Yeah, literally, lad, literally. So it's going from that there to going into college and being in a completely different environment with completely different
That would
sort of group of people
that's
and
obviously
stuff.
going to set you off then as well.
So just really uncomfortable.
Well, where did you go to college?
In Armagh, so just my hometown, yeah. But yeah, I just sort of pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I don't know, mate, just didn't really gel in with too many people. Whenever I started college, I used to we call it mitching, but avoiding college or just taking off. So mum would give me lunch money or whatever to go to TAC, and I would have pretended I was going to get the bus and then just fucking walk back home when she went to work and go back into bed, just avoiding it.
Counter-Strike on.
Literally, mate, yeah. But it was the fear in my head of going in and having to communicate with people and stuff. It was just the way my brain was working at that point.
So I suppose we're gonna kind of move on to how you went from that to this to where you are now. But you said that you weren't really into sport or into fitness at that stage. So how did that come to tuition? Where's the gap between kind of that anxious person who couldn't look people in the eye to now, running your own online fitness business, doing podcasts, training people, being very outgoing, moving to Australia. How did you get from that to this?
So, bit of a mad story. Whenever I went to college, this is sort of where it all sort of took off, to be honest, or it all sort of started. I fell in with the wrong sort of crowd at one point whenever I went to college, and all these lads were.
What did you study in college?
Computers. So ICT, yeah.
Shock.
Literally, mate. But after a while I fell in with the wrong crowd. These boys were going out drinking and stuff at the weekends, and I thought this was class, because the drink was giving me a sense of fake confidence, fucking self-esteem and stuff.
You didn't have that at that point,
literally.
so this was your
coping
mechanism
with it.
to be social. Yeah,
exactly. But I thought this was brilliant. So I was going out at the weekend, I was drinking, I had this new sense of confidence. I was meeting all these friends, weren't really friends, were just fucking acquaintances and people I was partying with, literally, lad, yeah. But it went from drinking 1 day a week to 2 days a week at the weekend, and then drinking during the week and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then I was studied in the college for 3 years, and whenever I finished in college, I went to university in Birmingham then to study computer science, because that's what I thought I wanted to do, because it was gaming my whole life. And it was the only thing I thought I had an interest in. But whenever I went to university, I rocked up to the first class or whatever, and sort of quickly realised how fucking hard it was going to be and how much work it was.
This isn't Counter-Strike.
Yeah, fuck this. But got a job in a nightclub basically the second week after I went to university, and we got free drink, free entry, free VIP and stuff. And
did you feel that when you were doing that work in the nightclub, because you were socially awkward and you had a bit of anxiety and stuff like that, would you continue to drink to suppress that?
100%. It got that bad that I was drinking while I was working as well. So like
to get you through work, essentially.
Literally, yeah. So we were doing like promotion work and stuff. You'd be standing outside and you would have to like communicate with people on the street to try and get them into the club and stuff. And I'd be sitting with like a bottle of water. Well, not a bottle of water, like a bottle of BPM or something like that, with like half vodka and half BPM, just to give me that bit of confidence.
Because like that's a complete like 180 from you, like not being able to look someone in the eye to now having to be on the street,
shouting at them, come
in, like the complete opposite, like. So
100%.
you kind of you felt like you needed to be absolutely pissed to do
literally,
that.
100%. So like it went from drinking like a couple of days a week to pretty much drinking every single day, literally every day for about a year whenever it was in university, and obviously like I dropped out because I never fucking went. Do you know what I mean? I was just drinking all the time, and like my sleeping habits and stuff were all over the place. And like,
what was the turning point that you were like after a year, like it was like, fuck this, I can't continue doing this?
It just started taking its toll on me mentally. I think I was stressed out because I was skint all of the time, because all I was spending my money on was fucking drinking, drugs and partying, mate.
Yeah.
And I got into like a
quick way to lose all your money.
Yeah, literally. But like I was more worried about money, and obviously mental health was taking a hit because I was drinking and partying so much.
Yeah.
And I just sort of missed home and stuff as well, and it's like, I'm not cut out for this, like, so I just packed it in and I come home. But like whenever I come home, I was off work for like 4 or 5 months. I had no money, no job, fucking no friends at this point either, and like I had a drink and drug problem, which I didn't realise, like. And like,
and your family obviously didn't know any of this.
Yeah, I didn't know any of this was going on.
Because you're not even in the country at the time when this is all going on.
Exactly. So whenever I come home, obviously I had no work or nothing. I had nothing to do but like sit at home with my own thoughts. And like I sort of realised whenever I come back that I was fucking depressed, and like my way of coping with the depression was drinking and taking drugs. So like I was smoking weed every day, taking pills and stuff during the week, like, and just doing lots of stupid shit that I shouldn't have been doing.
It's a vicious cycle. You feel shit, so you do this thing to make you feel better, even though this thing makes you feel shit again.
Exactly. So like I would feel like shit mentally, just in absolute gutter, no energy, and like I would just be like, fuck this, I'll have a drink. The drink would take that pain away from me temporarily, and then I would maybe drink for 2 or 3 days straight, and then when I would wake up the next day, it would just hit me 10 times harder. But like my way of coping with that was just fucking doing it again, doing it again, and it was just a vicious cycle. It sort of went on for years, like. But whenever I got back from uni, it actually got worse. I was drinking, taking more drugs, and it just sort of got out of hand. I fell in with even worse crowds.
Were you with the missus at this time?
No, she wasn't there. Thank God. Yeah, mate, she wouldn't have looked at me back then. But I fell in with worse crowds, and like these boys, they were up to no good, mate, and I was getting into a lot of trouble myself. And I sort of realised at this point I was going to end up dead or in jail. Really, those were the only 2 options that I had. I actually got arrested twice for being drunk and disorderly and like fighting and stuff like that, and I woke up in a cell one day and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing here? Absolutely no recollection of it. It sort of scared the life out of me.
And what was your family saying at this point? Did they know you were hanging around with the wrong crowds, kind of thing?
They knew I was hanging about with the wrong crowds and stuff, and obviously they had done absolutely everything to try and pull me away from that dark place, like, but it was
so
me
like
that needed to do it.
You can only do so much for someone, do you know what I mean? They have to kind of go through it themselves at that point.
100%. But yeah, after the last time that I got fucking arrested then, I remember coming home from it, and I sat down on the edge of my ma's bed and just fucking burst out into tears for absolutely no reason, like, and I just sort of realised at that point that I'd hit rock bottom. I was like, I need to do something about this. And like my uncle, he used to be a fitness instructor, like a spin instructor and stuff.
Okay.
And he had always recommended to me about like getting into exercise, because he's like, your lifestyle habits are atrocious. He's like, all you're doing is drinking, you're literally sleeping 15, 16 hours a day. And like that's how bad it was. At one point I was sleeping like, I remember sometimes sleeping like 22 or 23 hours a day, mate, because I didn't want to be awake. Do you know what I mean? Because of the shit that was going on inside my head. It's like I would rather be asleep because I don't feel that pain anymore. Do you know what I mean? But I got into exercising and stuff. Then I was doing a bit of walking, a bit of boxing, a bit of swimming. It was like really inconsistently consistent with like loads of different forms of exercise.
At this point, right, because like obviously you went from someone who was quite socially awkward and anxious and stuff like that, and then you were using alcohol and drugs to suppress that. Like, when you did get into exercise and stuff like that, was there still a feeling of that, or had you grown out of that at that point?
It was still there for a while, I would probably say, probably for the first 2 years, anyway, whenever I had started training, like, I was still dabbling in a wee bit of it, like partying and stuff like that, but it was nowhere near as much.
You had a percentage of you going on a fucking bender started to reduce.
And wanted to get healthy and sorting my fucking head out and stuff.
It was still there, but it wasn't there as much kind of thing.
It was because of the environment that I was surrounding myself with, though. Like, my friends at that point, like, all they were doing was, like, partying and stuff, and they were the only friends that I had at that point. So, like, during the week, I'd be like, right, I'm going to train, going to exercise, going to eat healthy, going to sleep well, going to read these personal development books and stuff, and then at the weekend that goes out the window and I'll be back into that fucking circle again.
Yeah. So, but like before, that was all the environment you knew, but now you've replaced at least a part of it with, okay, now I found the gym, or I found this class, or I found, you know, this. So it's you kind of slowly transitioning into it, like. But it's not something that happens like a flick of a switch.
It took years. It took a really, really long time. So, like, very consistent for a long time. Like, I would go in for 2 or 3 months and then drop out for a couple of months, go back in for a few months. But, like, I knew how good it made me feel mentally.
Yeah.
And physically as well. Like, it gave me this sense of, like, confidence and self-esteem and stuff that I never had before.
Yeah.
Like, you know yourself, you go into the gym, you finish workout, you come out, you're fucking buzzing.
Great,
you feel great.
You feel like you're in the bag.
Literally, though. I was getting that dopamine hit, though. Like,
you do, though.
And I just quickly sort of fell in love with that process then of how good training and exercising sort of made me feel. It got me away from, over a very long period of time, obviously, it pulled me away from, like, bad people, bad environments, bad habits, and it literally just sort of pulled me away from the depression and fucking loneliness and anxiety and stuff that I was feeling.
Well, that's the thing, even like we know with clients that we work with now, like let's say they have a really poor lifestyle like yourself, or maybe not that extreme, but just like poor eating behaviours, not exercise and sedentary and stuff like that. Like they can go in and do a workout and they can feel great after, but like they're not going to solve all their problems in that one workout. Like, it takes time for you to recognise, oh, this makes me feel good, so I'm going to do it again.
100%.
And that gets stronger and stronger, and
the more you do it,
and then you get kind of an identity that, oh, I'm someone who goes to the gym, I'm someone who looks after myself, I'm someone who hikes, I'm someone who journals, whatever it is.
Yeah, 100%. That's it though, like, isn't it? I think a lot of people just expect whenever they do it one time that all of their problems are just going to go away.
Yeah.
And, like, you know yourself, like, you're not going to be motivated to do these things at the start, and you don't see the instant results, like, physically or mentally straight away. Like, it does take obviously a long period of time and consistency before obviously you would start to feel them changes. Like,
and I always say to people as well, like you might not love going to the gym, or you might not love exercising or whatever it is, but like, if you can think of it as, like, you know, this is just the vehicle that's going to take you to the destination that you want, and like for you, it's like, all right, you used exercise to help create a better lifestyle for yourself, also gave you the confidence and self-esteem that you needed. And now, because you have that confidence and self-esteem, like, you run your own business. You know, you're doing these kind of things here. Like, you're traveling halfway across the world. Like, you never would have been able to do that without getting the skills of...
Nah, definitely not, mate. I would still be locked in the bedroom.
Yeah, that's where you still be playing Counter-Strike.
Still, mate, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you might not love exercising now, but, you know, if you do it, you might get the benefits that come from that, which might bring you on to do something that you do love.
Yeah, exactly.
And then creating that identity. So would you say that then you're completely out of that, like, lifestyle before?
Yeah, 100% at this point. Like a lot.
So what was the length of journey, would you say, from you being at your rock bottom to you being where you are now, in terms of, like, that journey of self-development and looking after yourself and your mental health?
I would say like the first 2 years was sort of a slippery slope. Good during the week, and then the weekends it just fucking went out the window. But I was working a lot of different jobs and stuff years ago.
What kind of jobs were you doing?
Fucking stinking jobs, mate. I was working in a egg factory, on, like, you were working up there, like, literally your hips and, like, these blue molded fermented rotten eggs, like. It was absolutely disgusting. I remember the first time ever going in for a shift, like, was projectile vomiting all over the place and stuff. Yeah, it was slave labour, mate. It was fucking hard work.
So what do you do with the eggs?
You just had to put them into, like, this big fucking machine, basically. And it, like, pours it out into, like, this sort of filter and just washes all the stuff out. But it was disgusting. Like, I remember whenever I was coming home and stuff, I was living with my mum at the time, like, and she would make me completely strip at the front door. She wouldn't let me into the house without taking the clothes off. Literally, mate, yeah, it was disgusting. I got into my friend's car one day, he lifted me from work and he had to pull over. He was sick at the side of the road. I was smelling it, like, it was fucking disgusting.
Not the reaction you want from people when you meet them getting sick.
Thinking, like, but I worked in dog food factories, like just packing pallets, like bent over all day, stacking like these wee tiny small packets of dog food in a massive pallet. Working in call centers, just very monotonous jobs, like just repeating the same phrases over and over and over again. Yeah. I worked in like a pharmaceutical company, like a drugs warehouse, funny enough.
Not where you should probably be.
Probably not. But I worked in there for about 2 or 3 years, and then I was fucking sick of it, mate. I was sick of working jobs that I hated. Do you know what I mean? I never felt fulfilled. I never actually felt content or happy or anything, and I dreaded waking up every day because I was going to do something that I absolutely despised. Yeah. And like, obviously the only thing that I actually enjoyed doing, or the only thing I was actually like sort of passionate about at that point, was exercising and like training.
Was the only thing that made you feel good?
Yeah, literally the only thing that made me feel good, or the only thing that I actually enjoyed doing. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try and do something with this. Do you know what I mean? Because I've got nothing else.
When was the kind of light bulb moment? Because like a lot of people will like try and exercise and they really enjoy it, but then they're like, oh well, that's all this is. I couldn't make a career out of this, or to talk themselves out of that. Like, so when was the light bulb moment where you were like, you know, I'm done with doing these jobs that aren't giving me any fulfillment. I'm gonna try and make my way into the fitness industry?
I think the last job I was in before getting into the fitness industry was when I was working for that pharmaceutical company. I was there, I think I was working like 2.5 years, but like, boss was just a fucking dickhead, mate. He was just giving me a really hard time every day that I was there. And like, I was locked in a warehouse that had no windows or nothing in it. I was on my own pretty much every day, like, and like I just hid in the back of the fucking warehouse on my phone. Like, I wasn't even doing any work. I hated it. And I think, I can't even remember what it was. It was an ad come up, because I must have been looking at like courses and stuff just before, whatever, but like an ad had come up for a PT course in Uri. Yeah. And I was just sort of thinking about it and pondering over a couple of weeks, and I was like, fuck it, I need to do something here. It's like, I'm just not happy. Do you know what I mean? It was miserable. Like I said, like there was times, mate, it was just fucking bursting out into tears and stuff for no reason, just because how miserable I felt. Yeah. So I'd signed up for this course, and I was absolutely buzzing. Like, I had to wait 6 months until the course started. And I remember rocking up the area on the first day and went in backpacking all fucking buzzing, couldn't wait to get started. And I was like, where does this course start or whatever? And your woman looked at me funny and she went away, and she came back 5 minutes later and she's like, oh no, that course was cancelled. I swear, mate, my heart sank. I was like, fuck,
the one thing you're looking for.
Yeah, the one thing, like. So I was fuming and went home and I was like, what the fuck am I going to do now? I was like, I can't wait another year to do another one of these courses. And one of the guys I was working with at the point, he had recommended a crowd in Belfast. It was like a sort of fast track advanced fucking PT course. It was like level 2 and level 3 over a 16-week period. So I was working in the warehouse full time, and then I was doing the PT course part time as well. And it was the best thing I ever done, mate. It just gave me like this new sense of purpose, really. I just
and that's probably what you had been lacking for so long as well.
Yeah, just never, as I said, like I never knew what I wanted to do with myself, and it was only like whenever I get into this second course and knew it was actually happening, I was like, right, my life's sort of moving in the right direction now. Yeah. And but like whenever I went to the course, mate, I had no fucking belief in myself, I had no confidence or anything. And like I remember rocking up on the first day and like just chatting, not even chatting, just listening to the other people chat, because I couldn't fucking talk to them. You know what I mean?
Not looking at them in the eye.
Literally, like. But I just listened to everybody else sort of talk, and the guy that was running the course and stuff, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to coach clients, or I'm going to be good enough to.
You're looking 10 steps ahead, aren't you? Thinking that wouldn't be me.
Impossible. Like, there's no way I can become that person, or I'll ever have that confidence or those skills or whatever. But like I put fucking absolutely everything into the course, because it was the only thing that was going to actually move my life in the right direction. And whenever I finished the course, then I was like, right, what the fuck do I do now? Do you know what I mean?
Now I have to go get a job.
Yeah, I expected so much. Like the course was unbelievable, but like I think I expected so much more from it. I think I expected like when I finished the course that
life's going to be figured out.
I was going to understand everything, and like everything was just going to sort of fall into place.
You understand less when you
literally,
like,
just. I was like, right, fuck, where do I start now? Like, you know what I mean? But I was training in a local gym in Armagh, where I'm from then, and I'd asked the guy about like getting a job and stuff. he said they weren't hiring anyone, but like a month later they'd put a hiring post up, and I applied for it and went in for like a practical assessment and stuff. I was still working in the warehouse at the time, but they rang me like 2 weeks later, just as I was leaving work, and your woman had offered me the job, and I was sitting in my car, mate. I fucking started bawling.
Really?
Bawling,
So
screaming
happy,
in the car and all. Like, I was like, yes, fuck, this is fucking
I'm out of here,
awesome.
bitches.
Yeah, literally, like. And then that was it. That was sort of the turning point. I was like, right, this is a new start. This is a chance for me to become a fucking different person and leave all of this negativity and bullshit and all of the stuff that had happened before behind me. Like,
was that a case where like your mental health was low, but you were in kind of toxic environments for you in the first place anyway?
Yeah.
Like that's a big thing for anyone that kind of wants to get out of that, or anyone is in a negative mindset. It's like the first thing you could probably look at is, okay, look at your environment, like who you spend on time with, or the type of places that you're in. Like, are you happy in your environment, in your work environment with your friends? And I know that's obviously difficult to get out of. It's obviously took you years to kind of get out of it.
100%. Like not even like friends, like even just being at work and stuff as well. Like the people I was working with in my last job, they were married, like kids and stuff, but they've been in that job like 15 years, and like they just come in every day and like, I fucking hate this place and I'm so miserable and all. It's like, I don't want to be one of these people. Like, I need to do something. But like getting away from that environment, and then obviously like the friends that I was sort of hanging about with at that point as well, I just had to sort of leave them all behind. So like I had to completely disconnect myself from everybody for months, just to sort of get my own head straight. And like as you said, like your environment definitely dictates your behavior and like your thought processes and stuff. But I think a lot of people make the mistake of doing it as well. They're like, right, I need to cut every single one of my friends out and never speak to them again.
Yeah. Anyone who has ever spoke to, whether it's good or bad, they're
gone. Everybody's just gone.
Yeah, like, which is ridiculous. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. Like if they are your actual friends or like family and stuff, like if they're like, a lot of my friends were still partying and like taking drugs and stuff the weekend, but I didn't remove them all completely, but like I removed myself from that environment. But I'd be like, if I wanted to meet them, I'd be like, right, lad, let's meet for a coffee. You kind of
just have to just set boundaries, don't you? Because like I'm the same. I'd have friends who like I know if I spent the majority of my time with, like I'd end up out on the bag, not productive in work, like not doing anything that like actually gives me, you know, peace of mind and fulfillment and stuff like that. So, and it's not like I'm like, I'm never going to talk to this person again. It's like I can, you know, set boundaries that I can only be around this person for a certain amount of time in a certain environment. Like you said, like going for a coffee. If they want to go for a coffee, I'm happy to go for a coffee, but I'm not going to meet you at the pub on a fucking Wednesday night or water bag. You know
Recipe for disaster.
Yeah, but like I think that's like you said, that's probably a big mistake people make when they're trying to make a big change, is that let's just throw everyone into this bag of I'm not going to speak to anyone again, and then you realise that you're isolated and you actually need people. And
you end up lonely then as well, because you don't have anyone. And like if you leave it too long, like if you try to go back to that environment or them friends, you're going to be like, do you know what, fuck you. You haven't spoke to me in 6 months.
You think you're better than me.
Yeah, literally.
That's not the case. It's like you're just trying to be a different person. But it doesn't mean you need to burn all bridges.
Exactly.
But then again, if someone continues to repeat behaviours that isn't good for you, then you obviously need to set them boundaries that I can't be around you, because
that's what I had to do as well though. Like for like my best mates and stuff back then, like as you say, like a couple of them guys are still mad for partying, going to the pub weekends and stuff and all as well, but like I just told them, I was like, right, listen lads, this is what I'm doing, I'm gonna become a PT, like, and I remember telling them, they fucking laughed at me, mate, whenever I told them, like, are you fucking gonna be a PT, like, because I just knew whatever I was like back then, and I was like, this is what's gonna happen. I like weekends and stuff, lads, I'm not gonna be seeing yous anymore, because I can't be in that environment, because I can't control myself. It's like I'm too easily influenced whenever I'm in your company at weekends. I can't fucking say no.
It's your fault.
That's it though. But they understood that, you know what I mean? So like if you are trying to obviously develop yourself or move yourself forward, like just let your environment know what you're trying to do. And like if they actually care about you, they're going to support you. Do you know what I mean? If they don't care about you,
and your environment can be literally, it doesn't have to be like you fucking moving country or like getting a whole new set of friends, but like your environment can be, okay, I'm still your mate, but I'm not going to hang around with you at this certain place, like the pub. Like I'll hang around with you if you want to come to the gym with me in the morning. That's fine. And like that's still having kind of the same life, but changing your environment though.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
But it's also having the awareness for yourself to do that, because obviously it's easy to fall into them bad habits as well.
100%. I made it made that mistake loads of times. Like as I said, it's not something that is going to happen overnight. It takes a lot of time, like a lot of mental sort of resilience as well, doesn't it?
So tell us a little bit about also, because I know your style of coaching in terms of you help people improve their relationship with food and improve their relationship with exercise. What are some of the kind of mistakes you've made on that journey? Because I know you've kind of gone through the peaks and the troughs with that.
So coming back to just whenever I sort of not even finished the course, like before I'd finished the course, I was just doing what everybody else does, you know what I mean? I was looking online, getting information from influencers, social media, and like loads of different contradicting pieces of sort of information. So like I tried loads of different things. I was taking like extreme fat burners, I'd done shake diets, cut carbs out pretty much for a year and a half, no chocolate, no sweets, no enjoyment. The only thing that ever actually made sense to me whenever I did eventually get to that point was tracking calories, but obviously I wasn't educated on energy balance or anything like that, and I thought it was fat when it wasn't. Like it was fucking skin and bone, but like in my head I was still fat. So I was under eating massively for about a year. I think it was like 1,500 calories for like 6 or 7 months. And like testosterone levels sort of hit the floor. Those sort of feelings of like depression and anxiety and stuff started coming back because I was malnourished, and obviously just hormonally I was in a really fucked up position really. But like I became obsessed obviously with tracking calories, tracking food, everything had to be clean, was like eating like a bodybuilder's diet, like chicken and broccoli and rice pretty much every day, no sauces, just fucking made every mistake that you could possibly think of, like, but I ended up having like severe body dysmorphia and stuff as well. Like I would literally stand and look at myself in front of the mirror and think that it was fat.
Massive,
when it wasn't, mate. Like I would have fell down a grading if I walked past it, but like that was just the way my sort of head was working at that point. And like if I ever had anything that was like off plan, or like I wouldn't eat anything that my mum cooked me for dinner. I wouldn't go out for dinner with family. I wouldn't go for coffee with friends. I wouldn't have any kind of enjoyment in my life because I thought that I had to be this restricted person or had to do everything 100% right, or there was no point at all. And then I like, same as like obviously I work with my clients and stuff, this is why I work with them, because I've sort of been in their shoes before. Like if it did go off plan, I would feel extremely guilty about it. And then I would turn to food as a comfort, because like what my comfort was before was drink. And then whenever I got away from that, it was food that was my comfort. But like whenever I had something, as I said, like it was off plan or whatever, I would feel really, really guilty about it. And then I would use food as a comfort, which would make me feel more guilty, and it would just sort of spiral out of control.
Vicious cycle.
Just a vicious cycle, yeah. So it would be like really strict, pretty much just starving myself Monday through to Friday, like. And then by the time I get to Thursday or Friday, it was absolutely ravenous, and I would eat everything in the house, and then I would just self-destruct Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then just restart that process all over again. And it just went on for fucking years.
And what was the goal that you were looking to achieve from all this? Was it just like you were just trying to, you know, get ripped or looked ripped for the fitness industry? Was it for yourself? Like what was the initial reason behind that, or did you even realize?
I don't even know. I don't even think I realized at that point. Like I knew I wanted to like look shredded, but like as I said, whenever I looked in the mirror, I was skin and bone. Like there wasn't a peck of body fat in my body. There was no muscle either, because I wasn't eating, I was overtraining. Like I was training, literally.
Were you overtraining as well as under-eating? Yeah.
I was like training 6-7 days a week. I was going into the gym with no fuel and like just going through the motions. I would have done like an hour of cardio pretty much every day as well, and I was doing ridiculous amount of steps and stuff on a daily basis because I thought that I had to go to these extreme measures to stay that lean, if that makes sense. So like once it actually got through that point, I was like, right, I need to maintain this forever. And
well, like it's like you going from like not even stepping foot in the gym or not being active or kind of having a background in this to then being like, all right, I found this, and then you're going all in and being as obsessive and extreme with it as possible. Yeah,
exactly. Just it sort of took over my life at that point. And obviously this took its toll on me sort of mentally as well as physically. Like I wasn't sleeping, I had really bad insomnia and stuff as well. And so it just went on for a really long time, like, and obviously I developed a really bad relationship with food. I developed a really bad relationship with like my body and myself and stuff as well.
Well, this is the problem with restrictive diets that clients don't realize when they want to go on a dieting phase, or when they want to lose weight, and they take these extreme measures that obviously you're going to feel like shit physically as well, but it's mentally going to affect you. It's going to affect your body image. It's going to leave you worse off than when you started.
100%. Especially for like the type of clients and stuff that I work with, or like parents and stuff as well, and people who have husbands, wives, and all of that sort of stuff. Like, it's not only going to affect you, but it's also going to affect the people that you're surrounded with, like your kids, your family, friends, and all that sort of stuff as well. Because, like I said, for me, like, I didn't have to do it, obviously, but like, I locked myself completely away from friends and family events, social occasions, and just doing all of that stuff. And so, like, over time, it definitely does take its toll on you, like.
Yeah, and it's not, and like you said, because you coach a lot of parents and stuff like that, obviously mentally you're fatigued, physically you feel like shit, your energy's low, but also, like, you know, because your mood is low, you've less patience for the people around you who you want to spend time with, whether it's your kids, whether it's your partner and stuff like that. You're more snappy. You're just not you're not going to thrive as the person that you want to become.
100%. Just overstressed, overwhelmed, underslept, like, and just no energy. So you just have that sort of short fuse. And, like, you know yourself, like, when it comes to that and stuff, like, if you are feeling stressed, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling emotional, for me anyway, like, all of those three things were triggers for me to completely self-destruct almost. And then for me, obviously, using, like, food as a comfort, that's what a lot of my clients would turn to as well whenever they're having these feelings. But they don't realise that initially, whenever they come, say, to work with me or with any other coaches or anything like that, the reason that they're feeling like that is because of the sort of the approach that they're taking with their nutrition or with their training. They're going for these really restrictive diets or unrealistic expectations that they're setting for themselves.
Yeah, it's not just the goal. Like, the goal is important, but how you approach the goal is also important.
Exactly.
So when did you realize that this was a problem, and how did you, like, come to the solutions where you are now, where you feel physically fit, you know, on in terms of your nutrition, knowing what you're doing, all this stuff? Like, so where was the gap between that to figuring it all out?
I think the worst point that I got to, I was going on holiday with one of my ex-girlfriends, actually, but I literally fucking starved myself for 6 months straight to try and get as lean as possible for this holiday. Yeah. And, like, by the time we went on the holiday, I slept pretty much the entire time. Like, do you know what I mean?
Drained, exhausted.
Yeah, just drained physically, mentally, had no energy and didn't want to do anything. Like, and I just felt like absolute shit. But, like, I think it was 2 or 3 months after we got back from the holiday that I'd actually started the PT course then. So I started learning a little bit more about nutrition and how your body worked and all of that sort of stuff. But, like, through the entire course that I was doing over 6 months, like, I was still struggling with my own mindset and my own sort of relationship with food. It was something that I battled with, obviously, for a really, really long time. Like, but sort of just obviously once I finished the course, like, talking to, like, fucking therapists and stuff, obviously working with my own coaches and just learning from my own mistakes, really, and my own adversities, just sort of trial and error over a long period of time. But I would say, like, it wasn't really fixed, really, until probably whenever I actually started working in the first gym that I was working in. But, like, when I say fixed,
it's like it's not like one day, it's not an off and on switch. Like, one day, oh yeah, I have good mental health, good body image, a good relationship with food. It's like it's just a slow progression over time of experience and exposure.
That's it, mate, exactly. But, like, it's something that I'd still struggle with, I think, a little bit sometimes. More so for me, like, at the minute, I done a cut recently, right? And I got down to, like, 72 kilos. I'm sitting at 76 at the minute, so I'm 4 kilos heavier as, like, 3 months ago. But, like, at the minute, I'm a bit more fluffier and stuff, but, like, I feel so much happier. Like, I'm going out for 2 or 3 meals a week. I'm enjoying snacks and stuff at the weekend. I love having ice cream fucking 2 or 3 days of the week and stuff as well. And, like, I'm happy in myself. I'm happy with my body and stuff as well. But whenever I go through a dieting phase or I go through a cut, all of those feelings come back to me. I become obsessed with the number on the scale. I become obsessed with tracking calories. If I go over my calories by, like, 100, I'm beating myself up and feeling guilty about it. Like, my woman cracks up with me because of how extreme I do take it. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I enjoy doing it because it's a challenge for me mentally, it's a challenge for me physically, and I catch myself whenever I do get those sort of feelings and stuff coming back in because I know the science behind it. Do you know what I mean? And, like, I don't have to feel guilty and all about this stuff.
You have awareness now that you didn't have before.
That's it.
For that.
Exactly. But yeah, I think obviously now I'm still in a much better position of a healthy relationship with food. I'm happy with my body. I'm happy with my mindset. But it's like, I don't know why, but just, like, going through dieting phases and stuff for me, just towards the end of it more so, just after the last one anyway, like, I started to feel all of those sort of feelings and stuff coming back in, and, like, as soon as I started feeling them, I said, right, you know what, fuck this, pull the plug and start building back up again, because for me anyway, like, I don't ever want to go back to person again, if that makes sense.
It's finding that right balance, isn't it, between like, you know, you going from probably doing nothing to you going and being really extreme, and that balance in between is like, okay, does where I'm at now serve me in terms of the quality of my life, in terms of being able to, you know, go out with my girlfriend and not be consumed by calories, or being able to be present and enjoying the meals that I'm having out, and actually enjoy a holiday or a weekend away, and still feel comfortable and confident in my skin because I am training hard, and I do feel good, and I do look after myself, and like I'm gonna look, if I'm working hard, you know, that's probably going to improve my body image as well. Without being obsessive about how I look.
100%. It's hard to get to that point though. I think for a lot of people, obviously, as well. It took me, as I said, like obviously a really, really long time to be able to go out for meals out and obviously like not feel guilty about it, or go out for a meal out and not have to fucking starve myself for 2 or 3 days after it to make up for the damage that was done, if that makes sense.
I always say to clients, like, extremes are easy. It's like balance and moderation that's hard, because that's where you can have to balance the two of, you know, living a healthy lifestyle, but a healthy lifestyle can also mean social health and being able to enjoy, you know, a drink or a meal out, or
100%.
so on and so forth.
100%. That's it. Like it is finding that balance, and it can be very hard to find for a lot of people, but it's important that you do have that balance where you're like, right, I'm going to eat healthy, good, nutritious foods most of the time, but like if I want to go out for a meal out with my husband or my wife, or if I want to have a movie night with my kids and have ice cream and fucking popcorn and chocolate, like, or if I do have a day where I overconsume on my calories or go slightly over my target, it's not the fucking end of the world. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to feel guilty about it. I don't need to beat myself up about it. Tomorrow's a new day. Just get up, get back into your routine again, and just keep sort of moving forward with it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, like, what does food freedom mean to you? But I suppose that's essentially it, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, 100%. It is just having that freedom around food where you're not overconsumed by guilt or frustration, or taking it to these sort of extremes, obviously, that I have done in the past, and like sort of the clients obviously that I work with have done, jumping into all these sort of different extreme diets and fucking fad diets and stuff. But I said, yeah, it's pretty much it. Like, it's just being able to consume a wide variety of foods, being able to enjoy social events, being able to go out for a few drinks at the weekend if you want to, being able to take a few days off, being able to go on holidays and
not stress about it.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's something that I struggle with as well. Like I went on holidays, or 2 weeks after I'd finished my last dieting phase, we went on an all-inclusive cruise with my family. It was our first holiday in 10 years. And like it was all you can eat buffet, like breakfast, lunch and dinner. And like, mate, I done nothing but eat the entire time. And I loved it. And like obviously looking back at it in hindsight, I'm like, that was fucking great. I made loads of memories, I had loads of nice food, it was really good fun. But like at that time, just because of where my mindset was after that, like I did feel those sort of feelings of guilt and frustration and stuff coming back in.
It's like, oh, am I ruining all my progress that I made in my diving phase?
Exactly. But it's as I said, like it's trying to find that balance and just always being conscious of how you're talking to yourself internally whenever you do feel these sort of emotions and stuff coming back in that situation.
It's a funny one though, because like it's like we get lean so we can enjoy the holiday, so we can enhance the experience of the holiday, because we'll feel comfortable and confident and stuff like that. But then we end up getting really lean, and then we're just obsessing about, you know, damaging the work that we did by eating the food, and actually then we're not actually present at the meal or at the drinks with family and friends, and we actually end up ruining the holiday that we were supposed to enjoy by doing the thing that was supposed to bring us to happiness.
Exactly.
Like it's a mind fuck thing.
Yeah, you can't win. You can't win. Like, say a thing about it for me as well. I think this is something I realised after my last dieting phase as well. Like, everybody wants, maybe not everybody, like, but most people want to get, especially lads, want to get like lean or fucking shredded and stuff. But like, realistically, the only person who fucking cares is you.
Yeah, no one else cares.
No one else cares, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, the only person who actually cares what you look like is yourself.
Yeah. You're the only. Yeah, it's you in your head all the time with them external thoughts.
Yeah.
Question that I wanted to ask you about coaching. So, what do you know now about coaching that you wish you knew when you started out when coaching clients? Everybody's
different. I think obviously, like, whenever I first started coaching, I didn't obviously have the like knowledge or experience and stuff that I have now. I think I just sort of expected to jump into coaching and be like, here's your calories, here's your exercise plan, here's your workouts or whatever. There you go. See you next week. And everybody would just tick the boxes every single week.
Yeah, robots.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And then quickly realised after a few weeks, people started like not doing check-ins and people were struggling with all of these different things. It's like, fuck, what do I do now? But yeah, I think it's just like, obviously everybody's individual. Everybody's got their own challenges, their own struggles and stuff that they're facing. You can't treat one person the same as the next because it has to be a individualized approach. No one person is the same. And like these coaches and stuff, and there's lots of fucking coaches, there's not many names that I know of, that like just hand out blanket prescriptions to all of their clients, and like then the clients wonder why they're not getting results and they're getting frustrated and stuff from it. So it's definitely just making sure that you're taking an individualized approach to each client.
Yeah, it's like you're not at some point you're not coaching calories or steps. You're coaching fucking Trish, who has 3 kids hanging out of her, or fucking John, who loves a pint at the weekend, and trying to navigate their lifestyles and their problems around them getting the result that they want.
100%, and like a lot of it, most of it comes down to the mindset aspect of it, obviously, as well, isn't it? Because like a lot of people can, once they get into the routine of training and like eating sort of healthily and stuff, like it just becomes part of their life, really. It becomes part of the routine. But it's what happens in here with people is the struggle for them. Again, like coming back to myself, like those feelings, guilt, frustration, self-destruction, all of that sort of stuff. So I think a lot more coaches need to take a deeper dive really into mindset and stuff and understand how they can actually talk to their clients, asking the right questions to make sure that they're getting the information that they need from the client to actually help move them forward, and as you said, like navigate them in the right direction.
Yeah. And how do you think to do that for, like, if you have a client who, constantly feels guilty around the food that they're eating, maybe through kind of years of being manipulated with diet culture, or someone who gets frustrated every time they're not losing weight and stuff like that? How do you deal with them emotions of that client who essentially presses the fucker button?
For me, what we've actually started doing in our program recently, and it's been extremely powerful. It's something obviously that I've done a lot myself over the years, is like journaling, a lot of self-reflection, keeping mood diaries and stuff whenever they're consuming certain foods, so they can actually realise the thoughts and emotions and stuff that's going on whenever they have this particular food. But obviously just educating them more so whenever they do come on board, that obviously there is no good or bad foods, helping educate them properly on how to understand and sort of measure the progress properly, because like a lot of the women obviously that I work with, obviously we work with women who have struggled with yo-yo dieting and stuff their entire life, done Slim and World, Weight Watchers, Slim Fast, all of that sort of shit, and like they have an emotional attachment to the scales. Like the scales is the only success metric that they're trying to look at. So like if somebody has a bad relationship with the scales, we're like, right, fuck them out, don't even look at them, like, do you know what I mean? Because that's just going to add more stress, it's going to add more overwhelm, and then what are you going to do off the back of that? You're going to turn to foods as a comfort, which is going to make you feel more guilty and fucking more frustrated. So it's tailored to the person, but it's just nurturing them, holding their hand, and like getting them to be open and honest about whenever they do have these things, and using sort of like mindset techniques, if you could say it, with them whenever these things do happen. Because like obviously if somebody goes out for a meal out, they're going to feel really guilty about it, but like it's trying to get the client to reframe that, instead of being like, oh, I feel really guilty because I went out with my kids and my husband and had a nice meal. You'd be like, well, you obviously got something from it. You went out with your family, like you enjoyed it, you had a nice meal, you spent family quality time together with them, and you're trying to reframe it from a negative thing to a positive thing.
Associating that meal out with something positive, like it's you wanted to lose weight because you wanted to enhance, nights out with your family. You're actually on a night out, but now you're like we talked about, the same as dieting for the holiday and then dieting for the holiday, ruin the holiday. It's like you want to heighten the experience of the meal out with your friends and family, because you feel confident because you've lost weight. But now you're on the night out, and now you're just stressing about over consuming calories. So you're sacrificing the thing you want for the thing that's supposed to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of, I know you're a big advocate of mental health. Obviously, it's something that you speak about and something that you've gone through a big journey on. So, what are the kind of daily habits and behaviours that you implement to make sure that you're keeping on top of that?
Something that I'm always developing. I'm always changing things. I'm always trying to change up my routine and stuff to try and get myself into the best mental sort of state possible. See, one of the best things I've ever done in my life, mate, honestly, for my mental health, is stay the fuck off social media. Like, I know I'm an online coach, like my business is on social media, but like the only thing that I use it for is producing for people, trying to give people value. Like, I try not to spend any time actually consuming on social media, because I think that was, especially whenever I like locked myself away years ago and I was gaming and stuff all of the time, like I was spending maybe 5 or 6 hours a day just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And like they always say, like, comparison's the thief of joy and stuff, and like I would have been comparing myself to other people's lives, and I think
social media is the place to do that.
Yeah, it's massive. Like, if you don't understand how to use it properly, well, not use it properly obviously, but it can definitely take its toll on you. So like reducing screen time, social media time, like not looking at my phone for 2 hours after I wake up in the morning. Daily journaling has been absolutely massive for me as well. Breath work, spending time in nature, some form of daily exercise. I've got into doing ice baths and stuff recently as well. I don't know if you're doing them, they're class, mate.
I've for years even, I'd be like getting in the fucking sea in December in Wicklow, like.
There's no better buzz, mate.
Well, like the thing is, right, like let's say you're anxious, do you know what I mean? Like there's no quicker, because what anxiety is you thinking about feelings of the future.
Yeah.
Like, what better way to get rid of your anxiety than, like, if you're jumping in something that's so fucking cold that all you can think about is, oh,
breathing
God,
and
I want to get out of here or something like that. Like, you're instantly brought into the present.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the quickest way to get rid of feelings of anxiety or worry or anything like that.
100%. So
it is huge for that. Another question that I wanted to ask you is, you also did, is it Recon?
Recon, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Holy fuck, mate, it was nuts.
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know about it.
Yeah, so Recon, in the easiest way to explain it, like, it's, if you've ever watched SAS, Who Dares Wins, it was like a shortened down version of that, basically. So there was 2 guys, Yona Jim and Mackerfeld. They had organised this thing. It was the first time it was run, and like we signed up to it with zero insight into what was actually going to be happening over the course of the weekend. We just paid the money and we're like, right, turn up on the Friday, basically.
What was it like advertised as? Like, what were you like promised you were going to get out of this weekend?
It's like mental toughness, like mental sort of resilience.
Which is something that obviously like you're looking to improve on all the time, so you stay on top of your mental health.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, mate, it was brilliant. We sort of landed up on the first night, and they just made us line up and stuff, like the way soldiers and stuff do, and just talked us through basically everything that we're going to do. They put us into like a big circle, and everybody had to like stand in the middle, introduce yourself and stuff. And like even that still puts me out of my comfort zone. I hate it, mate. But after that, they'd be like, right, lads, go and get something to eat. So we went and got like pizza and chips and stuff. This is like 9 o'clock at night, and they're like, right, get a good night's sleep, because we're kicking off at like 5 a.m. So we got a feed, get into bed. It's like 10:30 or something. 5 minutes later, your bike coming banging these drums with a horn and all. Nobody got any sleep. They put us into the back of a bus and drove us to, I think it's Strand Beach or something in Portrush. 2 o'clock in the morning or something. We got there, put us through like a 3.5 hour long workout, laying in the water, doing all of these different like sort of high intensity boot camp style workouts on the beach.
In the pitch dark?
Pitch black, mate. Yeah. They'd set these logs out on the beach. They were like maybe this width by about this height, and we had to do like overhead presses and squats and all with them, and like nobody knew what they were doing. And then we'd get into the water, back out of the water, and everybody was gassed after, like. But they put us back in the bus then, everybody freezing, absolutely knackered because we hadn't got any sleep. And we got back to the place where we were staying. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and they give us breakfast and stuff. Like, right, you've got 1 hour, get a bit of sleep, and then we're going again. Same thing happened, making in the bed 5 minutes later, banging the drums. Made us run 6 miles in the jungle, and I think it is Magafal. Have you ever heard of it before?
No.
It's just like a big activity sort of place, like, but had to run 6 miles to do a 10-kilometer obstacle course and all of these like team training things. Run 6 miles back as well with no sleep. So like the Saturday night, everybody was just broken, mentally, physically exhausted, starving. Couple of days, one of the days broke 2 of his toes, and I dislocated his shoulder, and 2 of the other fellas dropped out. Like, but
you obviously had to sign a waiver, so you could not see us for anything we do.
It was nuts, but the next day then woke up. I think we'd run like 4 or 5 miles or whatever it was, up like this mountain basically. Like just before you got to the peak of it, they'd planted like a 85-kilo metal stretcher, probably just a little bit bigger than this table.
Yeah.
And there was like 1 handle at each side. And I can't remember how many of us there was. It was maybe like 14 of us or something. But we had to take turns holding the stretcher on our shoulder and like run up to the top of the mountain and then run back down with it. Nobody was allowed to drop it on the floor or anything. It was nuts, mate. But by the time we'd all finished it, like everybody was sitting together at the end, had a barbecue and stuff. Like the sense of achievement and stuff that you got from it was just... was unlike anything else. Do you know what I mean? Because you pushed yourself past boundaries physically and mentally that like you never would have thought possible. Like if they told us what was going to happen at the weekend before it actually happened,
you probably wouldn't.
Well, yeah, probably wouldn't have went. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, that's going back to even when you were starting off your PT career and you're doing your course and you're looking around and you're like, I'm never going to be able to do any of this because you're thinking 10 steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
Like Adam now is able to handle something like that. Adam, like 10 years ago,
no
he
chance.
was on the session, wouldn't
absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
I would have laughed at you. I would have said you were on drugs.
Yeah.
Telling me I was going to do it.
But that's the thing. It's like you just go through steps in life of grow, and like there's no point in looking 10 years ahead of where you're going to be or what you're going to be doing, because you're not even going to be able to comprehend what you'll be able to do if you take them little steps day by day.
Exactly, that's it. One day after another, mate. That's why I sort of look at it. Like I have a plan for the future.
Yeah.
But like I always just focus on the next thing, like on the next day, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, I'll leave you with one more question and then we'll finish up. So, what do you think is weight loss advice that most people and most of your clients need to hear or take on board in order to achieve the results that they want to achieve?
I think, to be honest, mate, I think for everybody in general, like calorie deficits, education about nutrition, protein, calories, all of that sort of stuff, like I think it needs to be introduced in schools at a younger age, like whenever you're doing like home economics or like cookery or anything like that, because it's not taught in schools.
No,
like
and such a big part of life as well.
Yeah, it's massive. Like, and I think like that's one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people do struggle with these types of things, because they're not taught, they're not educated on these things.
And eating disorders are getting apparently are like increasing all the time with the younger ages as well, especially with the introduce of social media and stuff like that, and people comparing themselves. I want to look like this. I want to look like this, and then they're going on these restrictive diets and they're starving themselves.
Yeah, it's toxic. Like, but I think if they introduce things like calorie deficits, explain what actually calories is, energy balance, understand that there is no good or bad foods, you can have that balance. Do you know what I mean? Eat mostly good foods most of the time, enjoy foods that you actually like and taste nice the rest of the time. Like if they brought things like this in the schools and stuff, I think there'd be a lot less problems with people having poor relationships with food and having these struggles and anxieties around everything, and they wouldn't turn to social media as a fucking educational tool to try and learn about it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think if they brought this sort of information to people at a younger age, I think the world would be in a far healthier position in terms of like people's obvious relationships with food.
And what about, last question then, I changed my mind. What about, say, younger lads who are suffering with body image issues now at the moment, who, think they're huge when they're not? Like what would be, and obviously they probably have to go through what they go through before they take advice off someone anyway. They probably wouldn't, like if you were telling yourself a couple of years ago this advice, you probably wouldn't listen anyway.
Nah.
But what would be the advice you'd have for any young males who are suffering with body image at the moment?
I don't even know, mate. I don't even know what I would say to myself to get myself snapped out of that sort of mindset that I had back then. I think it's just obviously coming down to like loving yourself, really, like being happy and content with where you are. But like, it's easy saying that, but like whenever you're sort of stuck in that mindset, like I was stuck in, like you don't think about these things. No. Do you know what I mean? You don't. I don't know. Like you don't. I never would have listened to anybody else. And like I remember my family and stuff talking to me about it. Like friends and all, like you're getting too skinny. Like I was looking gaunt. I had like black lines under my eyes and stuff and all because I wasn't sleeping, wasn't eating and everything. But like at that point, I just still thought it was like overweight and stuff as well.
Well, I suppose even for you now, like I know obviously when you're in dieting phases, you get some of them feelings back of how you look and stuff like that, but like when you're training hard or when you're doing things like recon and stuff like that, last thing you're probably thinking about is how you look. It's
just getting through it.
Surviving, so,
just getting through it.
Like even the things you do on a daily basis probably help without you noticing, like when you go for your hikes and you're doing it because of how you feel, how it makes you feel, or when you're journaling because of, it's getting thoughts out of your head and on the paper, when you're training hard or when you're doing kind of, events like that are really pushing the boundaries of what you can achieve.
I think it's coming back to social media as well. I think that was probably one of the big things that put me into that mindset was again comparing myself to other people, bodybuilders, Photoshop fucking images and Instagram and stuff. So like as you said, that's exactly it, mate. It's doing it for health reasons, because it makes you feel good mentally, because it makes you feel good physically, because it gives you more confidence, it boosts your self-esteem, you sleep better, you've got more energy, instead of just training, exercising and eating because of the way that you want to look instead.
Basically, you're trying to hate yourself to change.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. If anyone wanted to find out a little bit more about your coaching services or just ask you questions or anything like that, where can they find you?
Instagram, Facebook and YouTube at Adam Donald Fitness.
Adam Donald Fitness. I'll put it on in the show notes. Adam, thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me, mate. Pleasure.
Thanks for watching. If you like that episode and you want to see more content like this, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you on the next one.